How's it going, everyone? Jiivita here with a release overview for testing 220. This will be release 221 when it hits the live servers. But yeah, this is a pretty interesting patch. It basically adds 3 to 4 things, but they're all pretty major for one reason or another. But probably the flagship item of this patch is the new machine. It's the Chrysominter. So kind of like gold minter, coin minter. Basically, you can throw items into this machine and it will spit out coins actually quite instantly. It does have kind of some interesting mechanics of how it works. So basically, it's going to spit out 100 coins when this bar fills up completely. So you can see your progress off to the side. When the bar fills up, it gives you 100 coins. So you'll be able to right click on any item, and down below you'll be able to see what that item will mint for if you put it into this machine. So this raw earth yam is worth 99 coins. Now I have to throw out there that the devs did mention that all of the prices on the testing servers are deliberately incorrect. They didn't want players being able to log on to the testing servers and be able to get this sort of information that not everybody has access to and kind of, play the market, so to speak. So obviously raw earth yams are probably not going to be worth 99 coins as far as their mint value. They mentioned that all of the mint values will be low enough that it will always be a more attractive option to try to sell your goods to another player versus throwing it into this machine. This is meant to be kind of a last resort, like you just can't sell this resource to anybody else, but you don't want to keep it or store it. You can be able to throw it into this machine to not only get rid of it, but actually get some coin out of this. So this acts like a trash can slash an extra source of income slash a place to put all of those resources. Like say you just have a whole bunch of rock and you have no intentions of ever using it, you can now just throw it into this machine and turn it into at least a little bit of coin. I have to say, like, growth and foliage would probably be another couple of resources I might throw into this. But so we can throw this in here, start this, and there we go. We got 100 coins. We're actually 140 coins plus progress to the next 100 coins. So we did get 40 extra coins because we have the power coils associated. So each power coil will give each 100 coin payout a little bit extra. So as you can see up here, if you have the maximum number of coils possible, you get an extra 40 coins per 100 coins you generate. So essentially an extra 40% coins, which is pretty significant, I have to say. However, don't get too excited about those power coils because while the Chrysominter itself is pretty easy to make, just needs some machined copper, gold alloy, tech components, and a little bit of spark. So you'll need most of your machines to be able to craft this, but these things are going to be dirt cheap to make. The coils, however, are pretty much an in-game item. So they require 3 pieces of refined blink, umbrous, and rift. So until we actually get umbrous and blink worlds, we won't even be able to craft these coils. So this might be kind of at least initially a guild exclusive type item slash once we do get all these extra worlds and people have extra of these resources, then they'll start becoming more and more available. But for just 40% extra coins, I mean, that is pretty sizable when you stop to actually think about it, but pretty intense resource requirements there. Another change to the economy mechanics that's coming along with the Chrysominter is basically subcoin pricing. So some of the lower valued items will actually have a subcoin value as far as minting, and this will also carry over to shop stands as well as request baskets. So now you can come over here and set as low as 1/100th of a coin. So that is actually pretty cool because it allows you to more accurately set the prices of what these things are actually worth. Of course, it's the same for request baskets. Now, I do have to say that there is a bit of a qualifier to this, is that citizens aren't running around chopping their coins into 100 little pieces, so all of the prices, like you go to actually buy something, they will be rounded up to the next whole coin value in the favor of the shop owner. So if you're buying something that's only worth 1/100th of a coin, it's going to actually cost you 1 coin, no matter if you buy 1 or 100 of the item. So naturally, if you're buying something that has a subcoin value, you're going to want to buy however many it takes to equal 1 coin, because otherwise you're basically overpaying. And the same is true for selling. So if you're trying to sell something that they're only willing to give you 1/10 or 1/100th of the coin, you need to sell either 10 or 100 or however many it takes to equal up to 1 coin, because otherwise you're basically just giving it away, because it'll cost you 0 coins, or it will pay you 0 coins rather. But essentially what this allows you to do is to sell 5 rock for essentially 1 coin. So this will be a very welcomed addition for those low valued items that you still want to try to sell to other players. And something I'm trying to forget to talk about is that they mentioned that all of the mint values for items will change over time based off of the player economy. So 1 week or even month, rock might be worth 1/100th of a coin. Next month, it might be worth half a coin. So we really don't know. We also have no clue of how often these values are going to change. Are they going to be just with the updates, or is it going to be kind of a more automatic on the fly type system that depending on what things are selling for, the mint values get adjusted as well? So that'll be something very interesting to kind of wait and see what happens and how it plays out. So moving along, we have 4 new guild buffs. Let's jump in here and take a look. So the first one is a Spark and Wear Helix. So as you might have already guessed by the name, it's going to reduce the cost or spark cost and wear to machines for crafting. So the first rank is 10%. It goes up to 20, and then finally 30% less wear to machines and 30% reduced spark cost. So that would be really nice for those crafters that want to get just the maximal amount of efficiency possible. I'm actually a little bit more excited just for the wear reduction, because that just means I have to repair my machines that much less often, basically. The spark, I mean, I kind of feel like I'm swimming in spark, so it's nice, but I actually kind of wonder if that would extend to heat, but it only calls out spark, so I think that means it does not affect heat. But then again, heat and spark are essentially interchangeable. So let's try out this Wear and Spark Helix. So this energizing pie takes, let's see here, 75 heat in order to cook. And come over here, let's activate this in the empty slot. There we go, activate. And now when we come over here, okay, so it does affect heat. Very nice. So it was 75 heat, now it only takes 53 heat. So very, very nice. Moving on to the next one, we have Hammer Versatility Helix. This is a pretty interesting guild buff, because what it does is it allows hammers to do more damage to dirt type blocks. So basically it tries to turn your hammer into a shovel that also acts as a hammer. So the first rank starts at 25% extra damage, moves up to 50, and then finally ends at 75% extra damage to dirt. So this doesn't like completely replace shovels. So this topaz can one-shot the dirt, whereas this topaz hammer can only two-shot the dirt. However, before I activated this buff, it took up to 5 hits to actually break the dirt. So it is a significant improvement, but it's not going to absolutely replace your shovel. And for a little more clarification, I can break the rock with 1 hit. So another thing is that depending on your hammer, this might be enough to actually allow you to one-shot the dirt. So this diamond hammer can one-shot the dirt as well as, of course, the rock. The next one we have is pretty interesting. It's a weapon augment durability Helix. So basically what this does is all of the augments, it will basically allow them to last longer. So the first rank is 20% longer duration, and then it goes up to 30, and then finally 50%. So in other words, if you're using that slingbow augment, it will only consume a charge of that augment every other shot. The interesting thing is that while this does not work for the warp augments, it does work for the revive augments. So if you do have the maximum rank, you can use each revive augment twice instead of just once. So that's actually pretty nice, at least for the convenience of not having to reload your revive augment in between every single res, not to mention burning through them, well, 50% faster than you would if you had this guild buff. So that's pretty nice. I see this more of a convenience rather than saving yourself resources, because all of the augments are pretty easy to craft, but having to reload them less often sounds very nice to me. And then finally over here we have a really interesting one for crafters, particularly the ones that specialize in consumables, but it's bonus consumables. So it starts off at 5% going up to 10, and then finally 15% chance to get extra consumables whenever you craft them. So yeah, crafting brews, you get a 15% chance to make an extra one, or food, you get a 15% chance to get extras. So I did a couple of tests over here. So each furnace I put in 100 starberries to cook them, and so the first one I got 44 extra starberries for cooking that 100. The next one, interestingly enough, got no extra starberries, as well as the next test, but then it jumps back up to 39 extra starberries cooked, and then finally down here we got 119, so an extra 19 starberries. These were all started basically at the same time, so I wanted to do a test of see if it was significantly different if I did each one basically one at a time. So over here I got 45 extra starberries. Next one got no extra. Third one got an extra 19 starberries, and then last one only got 3. So it is kind of random. It's kind of interesting that this one, when they were all started at the same time, seemed to do a little bit better, but I think it's literally just RNG. Coming over here, I did a mass craft for 100 healing brews and got an extra 16 here. I did the same thing for this raw starberry porridge and got an extra 9. Over here, the brews got an extra 8, the porridge got an extra 17. And then finally over here, we only got 9 extra brews, but then at 13 extra porridges. And so I'm going to throw these raw porridges into the furnaces and see if the foods can actually essentially double dip. Because yeah, that would be kind of cool if it does, but kind of maybe overpowered if it does. So again, I'm just going to put 100 in each furnace and see what happens. Okay, so I put the 3 batches of 100 into these furnaces. So interestingly enough, there is a chance for you to get extra food from cooking them. So you get a chance while you're mixing it in the mixer, and then a chance for when you're cooking it in the furnace. So this first batch got an extra 8 porridges. The next one only got 7. And then the final one got an extra 3, but remembered we got some extras just from making the raw version, so I went ahead and threw the raw ones in here, and there was 38 extras, and so there's, 6 extra porridges on top of all of that. So all in all, we got an extra 62 starberry porridges when you add it all together. So we got the 38 initially from doing the mixer step, and then another 20 some odd from the actual cooking step. So we actually did better than 15% extra porridges. Of course, there's a lot of RNG involved here, so I kind of wonder if you average it all out, say maybe over 1,000, that you would actually get that 15% between the cooking and the mixing, or if you're really truly double dipping and each step has a 15% chance. So that'd be kind of interesting. Another thing that really I find interesting about this buff is that you really only need it for when you're doing a lot of crafting. So I could see guilds amassing a lot of resources, say like once a month, and then activating the buff for a week, and then basically cooking for 2 or 3 months at a time, and just amassing a bunch of consumables, and then they don't have to reactivate it for a while. So interesting use scenarios here. Also opens up the possibility of actually having a crafting guild or a crafting faction, at least for your heavy duty crafters that are crafting for the guild, or they are just really into crafting for shops for profit and that sort of thing. So a pretty interesting buff, I have to say. And finally, on the server side of things, or kind of the nitty-gritty side of things, there's been a number of server optimizations and game optimizations that almost feel like, to me, more of, or at least to some degree, a quality of life. So they've optimized how blocks drop, basically, particularly for like AoE, but even like if your inventory is overflowing, that kind of gets optimized as well. So previously, whenever you used an AoE tool that like broke 9 blocks at the same time, all 9 blocks would actually drop and land on the floor, and then you would pick them up. Now, whenever you break several blocks, they are all grouped together, kind of into at least their like categories. So like the gravel will be its own stack, but all the rock that's the same type of rock will drop into one item. And then over time, they'll actually merge together into, say, one stack. And if you can see here, this is noticeably bigger than this one. That indicates that there is more rock inside of this item than there is, say, this other item. Interestingly enough, the rock types, even though they could smart stack together, they still seem to stay separate. So if you're after a particular color, you can actually throw down the stuff you don't want and then be able to visually see that, oh, there's the color I'm actually looking for. So pretty nice, I have to say. So this makes the load on the client a lot less, the load on the server a lot less, plus there's just less stuff flying around on the screen for you to try to look through. So if you have like a really fast tool, I would literally have the issue of like not really being able to see what I'm even hitting for all the blocks that are flying around. It's not so bad with this diamond hammer, but if you had like a topaz or even a titanium forged tool along with a speed brute, it could be pretty overwhelming. But coming back through here, I mean, if you've ever done AoE mining, you should be able to see a pretty drastic difference. As you can see, all of these blocks slowly start to merge together into like stacks. So look at that, very nice. So just a few items here and there instead of just the entire floor being absolutely covered. So pretty cool, at least in my opinion. And since we're talking about overflowing inventories, unfortunately the Chrysominter, just like all machines, has to be placed inside of a beacon. So in other words, unfortunately, you cannot use them on exo worlds. So all of that extra rock that you're not able to pick up is, well, sorry, can't really do anything with it unless you can get it back home. Anyway, I think that covers testing 220 pretty nicely. This will be released 221 when it goes live. But anyway, this was Jiivita. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more like this, and if there's anything you didn't like, please let me know down below. Also, if you like my channel, want to get cool perks, check out my Patreon page. Until next time, peace.